Hello there, fellow Whovians, and once again welcome to another Doctor Who Big Finish review. For this one, I shall be taking a look at another 10th Doctor Adventures release, which is the first in the second series of 10th Doctor Adventures, starring David Tennant. This series also features Billie Piper as Rose Tyler. All of these releases from the second run of 10th Doctor Adventures are set during the events of a Doctor Who Series 2. And the first adventure, as you can see in front of you today, is called Infamy of the Zaross. And on the front cover, we've got quite a few things going on here. We've got the 10th Doctor and Rose Tyler looking dapper as ever. We've also got a guest appearance by Camille, Coduri, who played Jackie Tyler, so it's nice to see her pop up in this one. And we also get another one of the featured cast just there at the right. And up front and centre at the top, we've got this warthog monster. Seeing as we've got space rhinos, why not have space warthogs? And these are sort of the main villain of this story. One thing I quite like about this front cover as well is, once again, we have this strip thing here, which features on most of the Big Finish audios from the late noughties to the late tens. And this one, again, features the 10th Doctor, and the vortex features in a different colour. This time it is yellow. So it's much like how they were in the first series of 10th Doctor Adventures. And just a shameless plug here, if you've not watched my reviews of those, which I did quite a number of years ago now, then I highly recommend that you check it out. I'll be putting a link to it on this video as well, so you'll be able to see it on top of your screen. Right, so let's look at the spine. Spine, there's not much going on. It's release 2.1. It's the first in the second series of 10th Doctor Adventures. There again, we've got a picture of David Tennant at the top, just there, and at the back we've got another picture of what features on the front cover, and it just gives you some information about who wrote the story. So this one was written by the amazing John Dorney, who's one of the best writers for Big Finish, and it was directed by the great Nicholas Briggs. When Jackie Tyler takes an away day to visit her old friend Marge in Norwich, she finds her holiday immediately interrupted in the worst way possible: an alien invasion. The infamous Zaross have come to take over Earth. Or have they? After Jackie calls in the Doctor and Rose to deal with the menace, it soon becomes clear that this is a very unusual invasion indeed. The Doctor is about to uncover one of the most heinous crimes in the history of the galaxy, and if he can't stop it, an awful lot of people are going to die. And here we have more details about the cast just underneath there. So we have Marge, Jess, Ikron, Tannant and Steve, and we have Leader. And this story runs at approximately 60 minutes. If we have a look inside, we have the alternate front cover to this adventure, and we also have the disc. Behind the disc for this adventure, as well as all of the other ones in the second series of 10th Doctor audios, is just an advertisement for the first series of 10th Doctor Adventures. So I'll just give you a quick look at that. There we have it. So it's the 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 1, which also features Catherine Tate as Donna Noble. It's no secret of mine that I'm a huge admirer of the 10th Doctor, as he is a Doctor which I grew up with in the late 2000s. So having him being a part of the Big Finish family, which is forever expanding, is a huge delight. Having a second series with his first companion that he ever had as well is also really good. I like to say first and foremost that Billie Piper slips into the shoes of Rose Tyler effortlessly. She is amazing. One thing which I've noticed though, which is sort of repetitive throughout all of these adventures, and don't worry, we'll talk a bit more about it when we get to them in future videos, is the 10th Doctor and Rose Tyler always seems to split up a lot. Like, Rose Tyler goes off and does her own thing in her own little subplot, and the 10th Doctor goes and does his own thing. I've noticed that it's quite a repetitive thing that happens throughout these 3 stories in this second run of 10th Doctor Adventures, and I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. It's just an observation that I've made. Maybe it could have been done a little bit differently. But alas, this story is one which I did really enjoy. John Dorney did a great job. We have an interesting villain in the form of the Zaross, and there's quite a plot twist. I think for the most part it works. I'd say that the ending is a little bit of a damp squib, but that doesn't really detract from the story overall. This is very much a great series opener for this second run of 10th Doctor Adventures. I wouldn't say it's as strong as, say, Technophobia, but it's still definitely one worth checking out. The cast are absolutely stellar, such as Jess and Marge. Marge is a very horrible character, played brilliantly. Yeah, she's a really horrible character because she really puts her daughter down a lot, and it's sort of highlighted, particularly towards the end of the story when Jess interacts with Rose, and Rose just basically puts Marge in a place at the end, which is really nice because you get a few people like that in real life, and when there's people like that in real life, I think sometimes they need to be taught a lesson. So good on you, Rose, and good on Jess for finally standing up to her mother. Marge is very much of a battle axe, I feel, and even Jackie agrees, and Jackie is supposed to be one of her best friends. So there you have it. That is Infamy of the Zaross, a very good way for the 10th Doctor to start off his second series of audio adventures. I would highly recommend this to many fans of this particular era of Doctor Who, the Series 2 era with the 10th Doctor and Rose, because once again there's little things in there which make it feel like it is very much a part of 2006. It feels like I'm back in that era, and that is always a good thing when Big Finish managed to do that. Regardless of whatever era it is, whether it is in the 90s, 60s, 70s or 80s, or even in the 90s, Big Finish always capture the era so well, and it's really great to see that this is still the case with this particular release, and I guess all the other releases in this second run of 10th Doctor audios. It is such a delight, and we even got a little bit of a mention of Torchwood in there. And of course Torchwood was a big story arc throughout the second series of Doctor Who back in 2006, so that was really nice to hear. Thank you so much for watching this review of Infamy of the Zaross. I highly recommend it. It is a strong opener. It has a little bit of a damp squib ending, as I said, and the villains are interesting, we shall say. But certainly not the worst villains. I'd be very much up for seeing these villains come back in the future. Alright guys, so that is my review of Infamy of the Zaross. Stay tuned for more Big Finish reviews, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more of this content, and I shall see you next time.